In the church, how often, how blessed are we that we get to celebrate not just one saint, but a family of saints. And each of us, I want to say these saints are pretty famous because we hear them all the time, right? In the gospel. Martha's story, and we know this, all of you who are the workers of us, you the ones who love to serve, love to give. Martha, it's not so much that serving was bad. We all know, we all get this idea that it was her energies, her focus was on the anxieties of the stresses of serving. And Jesus just redirects her and says, look, service is good, because think about it this way, she was the one that got to welcome the Messiah and the Lord himself, right? So Martha taught us that serving is good, but the energies are meant for the better part, and wherein lies Mary. Mary sits there, and Martha is so upset, but Mary, literally in the scriptures, the way that she's described, that she's a disciple, she's a follower, she's the one who stands and sits near the teacher. And then Jesus says she has the better part, not so much that service is bad, but the energies for us should be directed as being disciples of Jesus. And Lazarus, his story is he died and God rose him from the dead. That's a big deal. But in the story, think about this, Lazarus doesn't really we don't hear him talk, we don't hear him say anything. He dies, and it says Jesus loved him, and he raises him from the dead. And as you guys know, understand that miracle set in stone literally the desire for the Sadducees and the Pharisees to kill him. Because they saw that this resurrection, there's no way they can win anymore. Because Jesus Christ has done this miracle that they could not. They had no idea what to do. So Martha, Mary, and Lazarus all taught us some type of thing that Jesus Christ wants to teach us. But this is, I want us to see something even more. How do I say it? Oftentimes people can see Jesus and we think always that all he's been doing, he does miracles, he heals, he cleanses lepers. He's always doing something in our minds. When we look at scripture, there's always something. But understand that I assume that most often there was a lot of ordinary things with Jesus. What do I mean by that? Just eating, cooking, being with Mary, his mother. And it says in scripture that Martha, Mary, Lazarus, he loved them so much that when he would cross to Bethany where they live, he would spend time with them. He didn't spend time with them and show them flashy things and heal people and kept raising people from the dead. It was the ordinary life of Jesus. It was Jesus Christ sanctifying the humdrum days that we all have. We all have days like that, right? Most days are days that are like, nothing's happening. But even if nothing's happening, God is sanctifying that time. He's making it holy by the faithfulness, by our lives, by our surrender, by our service. And I remember this one woman, when she was working back then, she said she was like this incredible nurse and she was doing all these things. She was volunteering and serving, and then now she says she can't because her body can't really move. So she said to me, literally looked at me and said, she says, "Father, my life is useless." Guys, how does that make you feel? Sad. Her life is not useless. But how often do we say that? Because we're not doing all the grand things. But God doesn't call us to those grandeurs. He calls us to be faithful. And herein lies, I believe, the beauty of Martha, Mary, and Lazarus is the beauty of their ordinary lives spent in serving and giving and loving Jesus Christ. My dear friends, we are called, yes, to greatness. Yes, you've heard all those statements before, but we are called to be faithful in those days where you feel like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Work is hard. My marriage is tough. I just went to work today. I went to my 9 to 5 and I went home and what am I doing? That's where Christ works. If we can be faithful in the humdrum life of every day. One time, Monsignor John Urell, many of you know him. He was trying to teach me, because back then, imagine now I have energy. I had a lot of energy back then. And I'd be like this all day. And he'd be like, okay, Aristotle, you got to learn to relax, okay? Because life, don't do this. He said, a priest's life is often just this. If we're so worried about the ups and downs and being excited, we're not going to make it as priests. He said, learn to be a priest in the moments where you're like, okay, I got paperwork to do. I got to just do this mass. I got to sit there and do some work. But it's not always so grand in our mind. I'll never forget that advice. That advice was one of the greatest pieces of advice that he ever gave me was don't be too concerned about the humdrum days, but those days is the days that God uses to sanctify us and us to help the world as well.